Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've never done a video like this before, and I'm not really sure how to go about approaching it, but you know what? I feel like this needs to be talked about. So I did a video a couple days ago talking about how I thought crowdfunded MMOs were killing the MMORPG genre. Crowdfunded MMOs specifically, not crowdfunded games, because there are plenty of games out there that have been successfully crowdfunded that have went on to be incredible games. Whereas MMOs, on the other hand, have not. They really haven't delivered. Now, there was, and I'm going to not specify what game this was, purely because I don't feel like dragging their name through the mud. I don't feel like calling them out directly, because while I do think that this was kind of a very sus way of going about what they did, they may have just been very inexperienced and kind of stupid. I don't know. But nevertheless, there was an MMORPG that launched onto Kickstarter recently. It was covered by a couple people, and I was asked by quite a few viewers to go ahead and give my impressions on the game. I didn't want to, because I'm not really fond of covering Kickstarter games, because I think that the vast majority, if not almost all of them, will never release. Now, the developer in question went and reached out to me and asked me to cover the game as well. I never responded because I, again, did not want to cover this game. I don't want to give Kickstarter MMOs additional exposure and allow for them to potentially scam you guys who might not know better. They then followed up with the second email, and then they followed up with a third email, and I just kept not responding because, again, I didn't want to cover it. But then they followed up with a fourth email on March 20th at 11 p.m. Now, I'm not going to show the email in question because I do believe in privacy, but at the same time, I am going to read through specific parts of it. Now, the first part that really surprised me, that actually left me kind of speechless, was that they went on and they mentioned that we are in the process of crowdfunding right now and we need more working capital. So with the very first sentence, I was just left thinking, okay, so you're prefacing this entire email by stating that you need more money. That's kind of unprofessional, but okay, sure. And then they follow up with, if your video increases our sales from a positive review, we will give you 20% of all earnings from the point that you release your video about us. So what that means is that, as an example here, if they have $10,000 funded when I make the video, and then I go on to say, this game looks like it could be so good, I urge you guys to go ahead and donate and help fund this game, and it raises another, say, $20,000 because the video goes on to garner 100,000 views. You know how much of that $20,000 goes towards the game? $16,000. The other $4,000 would essentially be going into our pockets. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, what? Like, I would never accept. I receive so many sponsored opportunities every single week. I turn down repeated mobile sponsors. I have turned down Gamigo and their attempts to get me to positively cover Arcade Unchained. I think it is essentially a weekly ritual now for me to turn them down. Like, in what world would I think that this is a morally sound thing to do? To be like, sure, I'm gonna get 20% of every single person's donation to fund this game. If the game goes on to garner $100,000 in funding after I release that video and other people begin covering that game, because we have a following of almost 300,000 people, then we're essentially going to get $20,000 of that funding. Like, oh man, I was shocked. I was in awe. I was very taken aback because I didn't know that someone would ever think that that was acceptable to do with other people's money, with money that they had acquired from players legitimately funding their game. Now, they follow that up with, of course, worth mentioning, I'm not offering you money to say positive things. I just want to give back to you directly if your video impacts our sales positively. So what they're essentially saying is, hey, we need crowdfunding. If you happen to do a video that positively affects how much money we receive, then you will get a cut of it. Now, you don't have to, but it's 20%, which is a substantial number. And you know, we're doing this just purely because we want to give back to you. Me specifically. Like, I am left to wonder, how many other content creators did they reach out to and offer to give a cut of their earnings to? And if that's the case, as an example here, if I do a video and 3 other people do videos and we all get 10 to 20% each, how much of the money that is actually being used to fund this game goes to actually fund this game? And how many of it goes into the pockets of the content creators that are doing videos on it? They then went on to state that they have a certain amount of money raised, and then they went on to thank me for helping them grow, but that we should not feel obligated to promote them. Now, my response to this was, I feel like I tried to remain unbiased. I tried to remain as professional as possible. I went on to state, I get that you guys are attempting to raise funds by whatever means available to you, but this email is beyond suspect to me. I know you're claiming that you're not offering money to say positive things, but you are providing a financial incentive for me to refer potential investors towards your crowdfunding campaign. This is further evidenced by you prefacing the email with "we need more working capital," followed by "you'll receive 20% of all earnings we acquire from a positive referral." I'm sorry, but there are more red flags raised via this email alone than I can even begin to fathom. And as such, there is no way I can in good faith record a positive video about your game. There was a lot of criticism I had pertaining to how you handled things initially, but this leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. I wish you all good luck with your crowdfunding campaign, and I hope that you legitimately want to create an MMORPG for players to enjoy, but I cannot support it based off of what information is available to me currently. Now, they did respond, and they responded multiple times. They did a lot of backpedaling. They went on to apologize, and they went on to state that they are still new in the scene. They were under the impression that when reaching out to content creators, you had to pay them for them to do any kind of video on your game. And, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. They might just really be kind of stupid and have absolutely no idea how any of this works. And that's completely understandable, because when I first started doing YouTube, I was really stupid too, and I had no idea how sponsorships in general worked. I initially took sponsorships for videos that literally earned me $100, when at the time there were people that were smaller than me that were accepting sponsors that made them several hundred. So, you know, I completely understand, but nevertheless, this game in specific and these quote-unquote developers behind the game just left a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm going to be following this game very, very closely, because if this is how they are approaching content creators, then that means that any positive publicity that this game gets is potentially financially incentivized, because they tried it with me, and that means they have potentially tried it with other people. And since I did not agree to it, because I have some semblance of a moral compass, that doesn't mean that other people won't jump at this opportunity to potentially make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars off of their viewers. Now, again, I'm not saying that this developer, this company, and this game are necessarily doing this, that they have this malintent in mind, but at the same time, it is definitely a potential plausible possibility. Now, these are not the only people that have done this. When I did a video on Warlords Awakening, calling it out for being a cash grab, the Warlords Awakening team sent me an email asking if I wanted to do a dedicated video on the game. And I responded with, yeah, sure, I would love to do a dedicated video on the game. It's gonna cost you $2,000. And they were more than happy to pay the $2,000, except they made sure to note, but we did notice that you have a negative video on our game. So it would seem kind of off if you were to do a negative video and then have a sponsored video. So to get this $2,000, we would like you to go ahead and remove your negative video first. So essentially, what they were doing is they were offering me thousands of dollars to remove my video talking about how I thought that the game was a scam. So they were attempting to buy me out. Another instance here is with Blast Unleashed. I did a negative video on Blast Online and on Blast Unleashed, and the Blast Unleashed team reached out to me. They offered money for me to do a sponsored video for the game, but first they had to remove the negative video. I mean, even Genshin Impact with MiHoYo reached out to me for a video I did on it a while ago, asked me to take the video down, and in the future, I might have potential lucrative sponsorship opportunities with them. I have turned all of these down because I believe believe that once I put a video up, whether it is a good video, whether it is a bad video, whether it is well received, whether it is not well received, it is up. It is there, and you cannot pay me to take it down. If it damages something, if it damages someone or a community, then I will take it down. But if a company reaches out to me and offers me money to take my opinion of something down, then no, it is not gonna happen. So with this in mind, I guess I wanted to make this video to let you guys know that this is being done, that there are Kickstarter MMO developers out there that are reaching out to content creators right now that are offering them a cut of the funds that they get for their game in return for a positive video. And while non-Kickstarter MMO devs have reached out to me to take down content, they have never outright offered me a cut of a game's total earnings. This is something that has only been done on Kickstarter. It has only been done by crowdfunded developers. So I urge you all to seriously do your due diligence when supporting a Kickstarter or even just a crowd-funded game in general. Please, seriously, I cannot stress enough how shady some of these developers are. And when watching a positive video on a crowd-funded MMO, go into it with the knowledge that it could be paid for. And tactically, since they're not sponsored, they theoretically do not need to disclose that they are getting a financial incentive for doing that video. Because if I were to accept this as an example, I wouldn't be sponsored. I wouldn't be signing a contract that offers me a certain cut of the earnings that they receive. It would just be an agreement where I am doing a video that I want to do that may or may not be positive, that may or may not result in me earning anything from it. See how vague that is? Because of that, I would theoretically not need to disclose it. And if you've watched any of my sponsored videos that I've done, I always disclose the sponsorship right at the beginning of the video. Within the first 30 seconds, I go on to state this video is sponsored. Every video I have done that is sponsored goes on to note that it is sponsored at the beginning of the video and at the top of the description, and likely also in the pinned comment. So just be aware of this. They potentially do not have to disclose this. There is no contract that makes them obligated to. You could be funding scams and you don't even know it. You could be watching YouTubers who cover crowdfunded games who are being paid for that you have no idea are being paid for it, being paid for that opinion. It is a very weird state to have this genre in right now. And you know what? I will probably go ahead and do a more detailed, I guess, video on my opinions of the state of the genre sometime later in this year, once I get a clearer view of how crowdfunded MMOs are doing, what they've done, how much they've made, how players have received them, and how some of the other MMOs like Ashes of Creation and Blue Protocol are coming along in development, and if New World got delayed again, and how PSO2 New Genesis is doing, and Elion and Lost Ark and everything. So until then, thank you guys for watching. Again, do your due diligence and be wary of supporting crowdfunded MMOs. Don't forget to I don't think I say like the video, right? Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys next time.
Someday soon I'm gonna make it, yeah.